Good evening. Welcome to the premiere of No One to Tell by me, Michelle Jones. The fact that I just now discontinued abusing alcohol on my own is a really big deal to me, my family, and friends, and probably some strangers too. I've never had a clear-eyed view of anything because of my addiction to alcohol that began at 12. My way of treating my wounds was the worst decision I have ever made. My reactions to stress and trauma turned deadly for me over and over since I was 12. Verbal, emotional discord at home, combined with my emotional drinking from a trauma, morphed me into a runaway drunk by 14. The clarity I have now has given me insight into what it's really going to take for me to overcome this madness I'm about to express to you guys in this memoir. I knew I was adopted, but the fact that my adopted mom was way, way older than me, way older than even my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was a real issue on all levels. First and foremost, stop and think. I was 2 months. She was 65. By the time I turned 12, she was 77. She did love me. I would never put this story out here and make it, I do not want you to think otherwise. I would not want to make this seem like she did not love me. She was an honored veteran, as was my father. He died when I was 8. The gap between us in age was always mentioned by other family members. It was noticeable. And she did try her best to be a good mom to me. The difference between her efforts and what I truly needed in a parent was just too great. I simply was way too much for her to handle at her age. I required way more attention than she was able to give to me. This made me seek attention outside mommy's house. I started sneaking out my window consistently. It wasn't long before I got raped by, we're going to say, a town member's son. I was 12 years old. This boy told me if I told my mom, she would beat me, and I honestly believed she was correct. Excuse me. I honestly believed he was correct. I was completely scared to death. White jumper on, and I was bleeding from my privates. I had never in my life had sex before. I had been touched, amongst other gross things, but I had never been penetrated. I never thought I had a chance to be heard, since I was such a troublemaker before this happened. And I did tease him. I clearly said no repeatedly, and my no meant nothing. Something happened inside of me that day. Sorry, y'all. I suffer from anxiety, so welcome to some of my triggers that I live with daily. I watched what the other girls did and I followed. It was a game to me. I never really took flirting, and I never took it seriously. I was bad though. I could not tell you to this day why I was so bad, but I do remember grandma in Philly telling my mom, Catherine, I was just like my mom. I also heard every time I got in trouble, every new stunt that I pulled, and there were many, I was just bad. So I started believing that. And I accepted the rape. And was even manipulated into more sexual encounters with this boy. This turned me into a sex-crazed 12-year-old child with adult tendencies. There was so many things going wrong at one time, I could not cope by myself. I really didn't have anyone to help me. I always felt trapped and grew not to care about my well-being at all. This led me to learn quickly to survive in the streets. I drifted in further and further away from home, day by day by day. Even though back then I was never alone, I really was. I see that now. I was always around older people trying to fit in. Most never even knew my real age. I would lie about that part because I really had to keep surviving every day. God kept waking me up. I felt if anyone knew my age, I would be sent home, and I hated living at home. It was like I just did not belong there. I still can't explain that part either, thinking back. I was brought this, I was brought that, but I was never satisfied. I wanted real love, and I was on a hunt to find it anywhere. After that summer, I had to go to the 9th grade. I tried to balance myself. Wait. I take that back. I did not try to balance myself. That would have sounded good. I had no clue who I was or why I felt cursed, but everything went to hell from there. Drinking every morning before class, wild nights sneaking out the window. I listened to no one, not even my own intuition. I stole money to supply extravagant habits and dumbness. The alcohol and being in the wrong place at the wrong time, doing the wrong things with the wrong people was super normal for me. It was like I lived off the rush. If only I had told mommy. I try to say this to myself and still have yet to convince myself things would have ever been any different. I was literally a young hot mess. On the other side of the spectrum, I was talented and very smart. 12 in the 9th grade. I was proficient in piano and voice. That made lying about my age super simple. Who would believe a black little orphan like me was gifted? I got picked on outside and at school. So I did things to fit in. I regret it so much now, but I know with everything I had to face then, I did the best I could. Every day before high school, I took a drink of straight liquor or wine. It was nothing about cigs and alcohol where I grew up, even at my age. This old white man downtown used to sell us whatever we wanted. So drinking and smoking was easy. It was convenient. I got jobs at fast food restaurants. I played piano for 3 different churches. I drank before every event. I would sneak out the house and wind up in a car on my way down this long road. I forget the name. To a small club with a huge personality. I promise you they shot outside and inside that club whenever a Southern Gangster song would come on. Everyone got rowdy. I still to this day wonder how my little grown self enjoyed being there drunk. Incoherently drunk. Every weekend, after weekend. In the midst of all kinds of harm. I lived through it though. When my mom found out by waking up many a nights and not finding me in my room, she was appalled. And this happened over and over and over again, whether I got caught or not. Some nights I got in and she probably knew I was out and just didn't feel like the hassle and just stayed in her room. I was not going to stop drinking. I never told anyone what happened to me. Friends knew, but it just wasn't a big deal. We were all kids. She had no idea what was going on with me. Her aggressive discipline, my acting out, from the rape. It just all just turned me colder and colder and colder. I had resentment towards my family. I honestly decided to use my upbringing as a blueprint to how not to raise my child. Expressing this is hard to swallow, and it's very uncomfortable to do. I do not want anyone to think my mom did not have reason to be hard on me, because these signs were strong. I was a walking red flag. There was a 50-year gap between my mom and me when in contrast, my birth mom was 17 when I was born. I love them both to this day. I hope if I have ever hurt them, I pray they have forgiven me. Telling this story in days and years to come will not be easy, but it will be worth it. I know there are people out there that know me and know of me, but just don't know why I am the way I am and why I have done the things that I have done. They know this, but not that. I know I have lost friends who just could not support me through my transition out of being this broken person that I've been for so long. This is who you guys met, but this is who I am now. This is a pure, clear-eyed view into the mind of a child that was raped and kept quiet and grew. A look into how weak a mind can become after trauma, which affects every part of my life. Decisions and relationships can be severely damaged and damaging when you take a trauma and just cover it up. Thank you.